Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're jumping right in today looking at some really powerful ideas we've been digging into. Ideas about this fascinating link between, our thoughts, what's going on up here, and what we actually achieve out there in the world.
Right.
And we're not just talking about money, though that can be part of it. It's bigger.
Yeah.
It's about building a rich life, success, fulfillment, just a better quality of life overall.
Yeah, and these insights are incredibly practical, really. They offer ways to think about how you turn those hopes, those aspirations into something tangible.
Exactly. So our mission here is to pull out the key takeaways, the real nuggets, and lay them out clearly. The goal is you can quickly get the core concepts and maybe, start applying them.
And what I find really compelling is how this whole perspective, it kind of challenges that default idea that, wow, you just got to work harder, grind more. That's the only way.
Right.
It suggests the power of your mind might be vastly underestimated, hugely influential.
That really is the central idea, isn't it? That thinking isn't just passive. It's the active force, the engine behind any big accomplishment or building that quality life we mentioned. It's not just thinking about it, but like structured, focused thinking.
Precisely. And it's key we frame wealth broadly here. It's not solely financial.
Good point.
It really encompasses achieving any goal, creating the life you want, finding that sense of achievement, success in whatever field.
Yeah.
So when we talk wealth today, that's the wide lens we're using.
Okay, perfect. So let's unpack that core idea first. Thoughts shape destiny. How does that actually work? It sounds simple, but it feels deep.
It's presented as this almost inevitable chain reaction. Starts with an idea, a thought.
Okay.
That idea prompts you to take action. Repeat that action enough, and boom, it becomes a habit.
Right, makes sense.
And those habits, over time, they really sculpt your character, who you are. And then ultimately your character determines your destiny, where you end up. So if you want control over your destiny, the starting point, the very first lever you need to pull is managing your thoughts.
That clicks. I mean, think about anything significant that's ever been built or created, a skyscraper, a business, a piece of music.
Yeah.
Before any physical work started, it existed purely as a thought, an idea in someone's mind.
Absolutely. It highlights how internal that initial spark is. And there's this really vivid analogy used. Imagine you give, say, £1 million or dollars, whatever, to 100 different people. You come back a year later. What do you find? Their situations will be all over the map. Some richer, some poorer, some about the same.
Yeah, I can see that.
It just powerfully illustrates that success, failure, wealth, poverty, they aren't just about circumstances or luck. They are fundamentally states of mind, ways of thinking.
That's a strong point. It's less about what you have initially and more about how you think.
Exactly. Your mindset drives your actions and reactions.
Okay, so this is where it gets really practical, right? It moves beyond the principle and offers a kind of framework, a way to tackle that big question. Okay, how do I actually do this? How do I achieve my goals, build wealth, find success?
Right. It breaks it down into 5 essential questions you absolutely need to answer for yourself. And the first one sounds basic, but it's critical.
What is it?
Question 1, what? Define your goal. What exactly do you want? Clarity is non-negotiable here. Absolute precision.
It makes me think of that analogy. Imagine you're trying to visit someone in a huge office building. You climb 10 flights of stairs, sweating, putting in all this effort, only to find out they're in the building across the street.
Oh, man.
All that energy wasted because the destination wasn't clear from the start.
That's it, precisely. Vague goals. They just lead to scattered effort. You drift. You need sharp focus.
So give us some examples. Instead of, I want to lose weight.
Be specific. I want to lose 10 kilograms by September 1st. Not, I want to read more, but I will read 5 specific books on marketing this month. Not, I want to be a pro swimmer.
Okay.
Define it. I will train 50 hours in the pool each month for the next year. Not just, I want to be rich.
Put a number on it.
Exactly. My goal is an income of $10,000 a month within 2 years. You need that clear picture in your mind. Vivid, detailed.
It's like the sail for your boat, right?
Yeah.
Gives you direction.
Perfect analogy.
Yeah.
Without it, you're just pushed around by the waves, the currents, and, for big goals, breaking them down helps. Smaller, time-bound steps makes it feel achievable.
Okay, crystal clear goal. Got it. What's next?
Question 2, why? Define your purpose, your desire. Why do you actually want this goal?
The motivation piece.
Yes. This gives meaning to the goal and, crucially, meaning to the actions you'll need to take. There's this great example. Think about 2 school guards
Okay.
doing the exact same job. Stand at the gate. You ask the first guy what he does. He shrugs. I'm a guard. You ask the second guy. He says, I'm protecting these kids. I'm ensuring their safety, making sure things run smoothly, preventing danger. Same actions, totally different internal why.
And that difference probably affects how they feel about the job, their energy.
Everything, their satisfaction, their motivation, that strong why strengthens your belief in the goal itself. And honestly, it's your best defense against laziness or giving up when things get tough.
Which they inevitably do.
Right. So examples of strong whys. Losing weight because you genuinely want to feel healthier and have more energy. Reading those books because you want to improve your skills to get that promotion.
Okay.
Training like crazy because you have this burning desire to win the championship. Quitting smoking because you want to reduce stress and feel more in control. Earning that specific income because you deeply desire that car or want to provide a specific experience for your family. Without that desire, that purpose, there's just no real drive, no engine for action.
There's a pretty intense analogy used for this, isn't there? About desire.
Yeah, the one about holding someone's head underwater. Initially, their wish to breathe is just there. But as the need becomes overwhelming, desperate, their struggle becomes incredibly powerful, intense enough to break free.
Wow.
Your desire for your goal, your why, needs to reach that kind of intensity. It has to matter that much.
So the takeaway is connect the goal and the purpose to your deep feelings.
Grr.
Turn it into a powerful, driving belief.
Exactly. That generates the strongest possible motivation. The purpose is the fuel. Simple as that.
Got it. Goal defined, purpose clear. What's question 3?
Question 3, what is the price? Define what you will give. What are you willing to put in?
The reality check. Nothing's free.
Nothing worth having anyway. You have to decide, honestly, what you're willing to sacrifice. Time, comfort, energy, maybe even money. What's the investment required?
It makes sense that the bigger the goal.
The bigger the price you have to be ready to pay.
Absolutely.
And part of paying that price is anticipating problems, knowing obstacles will come up and being prepared mentally for them.
Let's make that concrete again. The price for losing 10 kilos.
It's specific exercises you have to do, maybe giving up certain foods you enjoy, sticking to a diet. That's the price.
Reading 5 books a month.
The price is organizing your time, maybe saying no to other things, dedicating those hours,
Quitting smoking.
strengthening your willpower, managing cravings, maybe dealing with irritability for a while. That's the price.
Earning that specific income.
Could be studying markets, learning new skills, maybe working longer hours initially, taking calculated risks. There's always a price and investment.
Makes sense. Price acknowledged. What's number 4?
Question 4, when? Define your timeline. This is about adding structure.
Dates, basically.
Yes, a specific start date for execution. When do you begin? And a target end date. When do you aim to achieve the goal?
Why that's so important?
It keeps you focused, stops you from drifting, prevents distractions from completely derailing you. The advice here is practical. Prioritize tasks linked to your goal. Break big goals into smaller, dated steps. Create a schedule.
So it helps you manage your time effectively.
Exactly. You gain control over your day, your week. You're not just letting time slip away. It's also a direct hit against procrastination.
The enemy.
Right. There's that comparison. Procrastination is like a credit card. Enjoy now, pay later.
Yeah, but the bill always comes due.
Always. And often with interest. But a word of caution here, too. Be realistic with those dates.
Don't be wildly optimistic.
Right. The example given is a university project. You estimate 2 days, it takes 5, you miss the deadline. Plan realistically. Factor in potential delays.
Okay, realistic timeline set. That brings us to the last question.
Question 5. How and Genelation start executing? Define your plan and, crucially, act on it.
The how. The actual steps.
Yes, you need a detailed plan. Think about it. You wouldn't drive to a totally new city without GPS or a map, right?
No way. I'd get lost immediately.
Planning your goal is the same. You need the details, the route, potential roadblocks, how you'll navigate them. This mental organization, this planning, it's fundamental to mastering anything.
It gives you control.
Control over yourself makes managing your life towards that goal much easier. The analogy used is planning being like the saddle and reins on a horse.
Helps you stay on and steer.
Exactly. But here's the absolute picker.
Oh.
All of this, the what, why, price, when, how, it's completely useless without execution, without commitment and action.
It's just wishful thinking otherwise.
Pure fantasy. Action and implementation, that's the dividing line between success and failure. Full stop.
Examples make this clear too, right?
Definitely. You can read 1,000 books on playing the piano, know all the theory, but you won't learn until you actually sit down and practice consistently.
Or getting fit,
Yeah.
knowing the exercises isn't enough.
You have to do them
Yeah.
regularly. Same with learning a language requires practice, speaking, making mistakes. The point is, brains and knowledge alone aren't enough.
You need persistence, willpower.
They must be combined with persistence. And there's that powerful story illustrating this. 2 people in a new place, no money. Task is to earn 100 quid. One is, say, 20 times smarter. Creates a brilliant, flawless plan, but hesitates. Doesn't start. The other person, less smart, maybe no perfect plan, but they just start. They start asking people for work, for opportunities.
Facing rejection, probably.
Loads of it. Maybe they ask 3,000 people, but they keep going, and eventually they hit the goal. Persistence and just doing it trumped brilliance that stayed on paper.
That's a sobering thought. Action beats inaction, even imperfect action.
And interestingly, it suggests even patience isn't fixed. You can train it like a muscle.
Okay, so that's the framework. Define the goal, find the why, know the price, set the timeline, plan the how, and then execute relentlessly. But what about when things go wrong? Because they will.
Absolutely. Life happens, obstacles pop up, and this perspective tackles that head on. It talks about how people often give up too soon.
Yeah.
There's this analogy of trying keys on a lock. You've got a chain of 20 keys. You try 18, none work. You get frustrated, throw the keys down, wrong chain, wrong lock.
But
Maybe key number 19 was the one. You stop just before the breakthrough. Happens all the time. People quit right on the verge of success.
wow. And when it gets tough, that's when excuses creep in, right?
Exactly. The material uses this great image. Excuses are like a coat hanger, something you use to hang the blame on externally.
We'll call them coat hangers.
The list is long and familiar. Blaming your education or your environment. It's too corrupt here. Health issues. I don't have time. Family responsibilities, kids. Your appearance. Your age. Too young, too old. I wasn't born rich. My temper. My bad boss. I live in the wrong country. Just difficult circumstances in general.
And let's be honest, reaching for one of those can feel comfortable sometimes. It shifts the blame.
It does. It feels easier in the moment. So the invitation is to pause and honestly check. Are any of those your go-to excuses when things get hard?
But what's the counter to that? Because some circumstances are genuinely difficult.
Acknowledge. Challenges are real. But the counter-argument offered is this. Look around you, wherever you are. You will find people who came from the exact same environment, faced the same, or even worse, hardships.
And they succeeded anyway.
And they succeeded anyway. Why? Because they didn't waste energy complaining. They didn't give up. They owned their response. They took responsibility.
So the challenge is to reframe. See, problems not as excuses to stop, but as challenges to navigate, like those other people did.
Precisely. The call to action is blunt. Ditch the coat hangers. Get rid of the excuses. Take full, complete responsibility for your life's outcomes. No justifications. Accept the challenges. Choose your response.
Okay. So wrapping this deep dive up then, it's a powerful flow. Your thoughts are the starting point. Then you need that clear framework. What do you want? Why do you want it badly? What's the price you'll pay? When will you achieve it? How will you do it? And then, crucially, execute. Take action consistently.
Yeah, and it really hammers home the impact of mindset and persistence. Intelligence is great, but it's no substitute for sticking with it, pushing through obstacles, and resisting that urge to quit or blame something else.
So thinking about everything we've covered, if success, however you define it, really does start with your thinking and is built through deliberate action, maybe the question to ponder is, what coat hangers might be hanging in your mental closet? And what's just one specific action, maybe even a small one, you could take today to either define your most important goal more clearly or just move one tiny step closer to it?
That's a great question. And embracing that responsibility for your journey, for your wealth, there's a real power in that, a kind of freedom, actually.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.